Hi, everyone. Welcome to Psychic Connection, Collaboration over Competition. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Michele Granberg. Welcome, Michele.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And I hope I said your name correctly. Did I?
Granberg.
Granberg. Perfect. Great. So I love to just jump right in. Looking at all your credentials, it looks like you love to learn. You have an MA, master's degree, right? Although, what do you have your MA in?
My master's is in psychology and counseling.
Wow.
My graduate degree.
Your graduate degree, right?
And my undergrad is also psychology.
Wow. So you have a double in psychology. So
Yep.
That's great. Yeah. Now, you also have a CHT and a CPLT. Please explain. I'm not familiar. Please explain, what those certifications are.
The CHT is certified hypnotherapist. So I have training in that for over 22 years. And the CPLT is a certified past life therapist. So I trained with Dr. Brian Weiss, who's very well known internationally, certified through him. I'm also certified through IBRT, which is International Board of Regression Therapists. I completed their certification. I'm also certified in shamanic studies through Foundation of Shamanic Studies and mindfulness practices and meditation with I studied with Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. So I had completed his professional training program as well. So those are some certifications. I know we can talk more about
those are, and you trained with the best, definitely. Yeah.
People I love. I feel blessed. Don't we? We love to train with the people that we love more than anything, Oh my God, meeting them in person and getting to spend time with them. There's nothing like it.
I'm sure. Brian Weiss, I've read all of his books. I love him. Yeah. So actually train with him, be a dream come true.
Yeah. He's very humble. He's a great guy.
Oh, that's the best part. I love it, when people are humble, about their abilities. It's wonderful. And, to love to teach others. It's great. Yeah. So at what point in your life did you realize that you were intuitive and, how did you know?
Yeah, my intuition goes hand in hand with my love of psychology and my love of working with people. We want, of course, people to know that everyone is intuitive. We're born intuitive. It's hardwired into us. The day that we're born, we come to this earth with intuition. It's our guidance system. It's our sixth sense, although we tend to disconnect or pinch ourselves off from that. So I know we're talking about using intuition deliberately and formally with our clients, because I use it personally in my life, letting my intuition guide me, but I also can't turn it off. And when I tune into someone, it comes into play. So I think it really developed steadily, gradually, more and more and more over time. The more that I worked with people and they allowed me in, when people work with me, they give me permission by virtue of the fact that they're showing up to be vulnerable with me, to let their walls down. And when that occurs, I sort of move into their field a little bit. I energetically, and then that's why we call it a reading. It's almost like reading a book, but you got to open the book. If the book is closed, I can't see what's in the book, but when someone is with you, they're allowing their book to be open, and you can read their pages. And the other thing is, I will say, and I recommend to others, meditation, because for me, I learned meditation a really long time ago, like really early, right out of college. I was introduced to meditation, and that was the portal for me. Like that was the entrance, the gateway to altered states. And it really is through altered states, because when we're speaking from intuition, we're in an altered state. So I say intuition flows when we access altered states. And the more we practice that and stay in those states, then we're just naturally connected to our intuition. And then it's just a matter of trusting it. and then also understanding sort of the metaphysical and universal spiritual principles behind energy and behind intuition and behind the idea that we're something much more than our analytical minds. We're so
Right.
much more than that.
Oh, you explain it so well. I think you should, yeah. Well, you do give classes. I'm going to say
I,
you're a born teacher as well because you're explaining things, and that's you know, that's such a high part of teaching, right? Is explaining things well enough so people can easily understand.
yeah.
Yeah. So, like me, right? Speaking of this, we love to help people, right? You love to help people, and so do I. But you've helped thousands of people. So you work with people to overcome their fears, right, and awaken them to their potential. Why do you think so many people have fears in the first place?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Like, what
Yeah,
happens?
right.
Because
Why?
why? Why? It is lots of different reasons, but I can definitely sort of boil it down a little bit more to what I feel is the human sort of universal most common blocks or whys in terms of that, because we're all a bundle of potential. We're born with just boundless potential, and we either stay on that track sort of in life, often when it's encouraged, right, and when it's reinforced, but sometimes we get off that track and we start to kind of shut down. So I'm going to say in general, like I was saying a few moments ago, where it stems from a sort of a core disconnect from our spiritual nature. And I'm going to say that our spiritual nature, we do say, is love. Like, we're born as
Definitely.
love,
Yes.
believing in love.
Yes.
We're the vibration of love. And we can say that there's almost just like two vibrational states or two emotions or two states of being, love or fear.
Yes.
And they're kind of like on opposite ends of the spectrum. Fear is a lower vibration, love is like the highest vibration. So we're somewhere on that spectrum, on that continuum, moving in the direction of love or moving away from love. So fear is the absence of love, love is the
Yes.
absence of fear. So I think for most people, if they're living in that heightened fear state, that fight or flight, or living in their ego or their false self, or living in their story, or they believe themselves to be a victim, it's mainly because they've forgotten who they are as a spiritual being who is love, and that the universe itself is love. It's harmless and benevolent, and that they are never apart from that we are walking, talking, physical extensions and embodiments of the divine, which is love.
Which is love.
So there's lots of things that cause that. It could be trauma. It could be just bad messaging, negative messages that people get growing up. It could just be getting lost in the collective chaos and craziness all around us. We get too identified with that.
Yeah. Again, wow, you explain things so well. I'm so impressed. You really do. So let's talk about one service you provide using your intuition is giving intuitive past life, and I'm not sure if I say this word correctly, Ashaka? How do you say that word?
It's Akashic.
Akashic. See, I knew I wasn't saying it right. Akashic, thank you. Readings. So can you elaborate on the process of how that works, how you work that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a unique type of reading. It's just a little bit different than other types of readings. I like to say it's a soul-based reading. It's about the person who's sitting with me. It's about their soul's journey. So we get higher knowledge in that. It's not just about their ground level life, and they want to know about their job or their family, and all of that's important, but this brings in an even bigger picture of that. So I mean, so it's purely intuitively driven, because there's no proof. It's from intuition, which I think goes sort of beyond proof. But the Akashic records they're called the Akashic records. It really is a compendium of all human life. We say that all humans who've ever lived, that there's sort of a record of their existence for all eternity. We could say it's on a non-physical plane,
Mhm.
that or another dimension, and we use the metaphor of a vast library. So we try to, it's that's an easier way of like imagining it
Yeah,
for
I
our
like that.
minds. Think about this vast, endless library, and there's a book for everybody on all of those shelves. And that book contains your entire soul's journey. Everything you've said, every word, every thought, every emotion, every act, every deed, every belief, conscious and subconscious,
Oh,
is encoded in that record. So
mhm.
wouldn't we want to know and be curious, and wouldn't it be helpful? So as a past life intuitive Akashic reader, I
Mhm.
get myself into an altered state. So I raise my vibration. It's a little bit like channeling. So I both feel like leave my body a little bit, or sort of
Right.
stretch my consciousness to
Mhm.
match that higher level, that higher vibration where that particular knowledge is available. And then I bring it sort of down. It feels like a download, right? You probably feel that way too. Like I
Right. Yeah, I
connect
get
to
the
it, then I bring it
information. Yeah.
forward
Mhm.
for the individual. It's for
Right.
them. It's not random information. It is based on their questions and
Right.
their intention,
Mhm.
whether they even are verbalizing it or not.
Mhm.
And so I get a little bit of some past lives for them, past lives that connect to their current struggles or their current path, as well as maybe some spirit guides
Yeah.
or an animal totem guide, or
Mhm.
so, but it's all practical. It all winds up being
Yeah.
higher, but also very practical, so it's useful for them.
It's useful for the person that you're reading. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's so intriguing. Love it.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that truly intrigues me is another service that you offer is energy healing for your pet.
Right.
And, you know, most people I know, I feel that your pets are members of your family. So, can you tell us some stories about how you helped someone and with their pet?
Yeah, absolutely. So people are familiar with energy healing. Energy healing is ideal for people, but it's also ideal for pets. And energy healing is very gentle and non invasive and very soothing for pets, because their energy, just like our energy, can sort of get out of balance. So I can work with pets remotely and or in person,
Mhm.
and again, it's not a quick fix or an instant cure. Energy healing is not that. But so typically, I've had people bring me their pets, sometimes when their pets are ill.
Mhm.
I had someone bring me their pet not too long ago that had a tumor around her eye, and it
Oh,
was already sort of bulging. You could sort of,
right.
the tumor was noticeable and observable. And eventually that pet did pass, but
Mhm.
I was able to at least apply some energy healing for pain relief,
Right.
which is what it's helpful for, and for something on some level to assist them. Now, animals are very wise and intuitive beings in and of
Very,
themselves. They know what they need, and
very.
they take what they need and they reject the
Mhm.
rest. So I was able to give also the people, because it's
Right.
also for them, some messages from my intuition and from the pet to basically give them some comfort. And basically, what I recognized was that, basically she was getting towards
Not her time. Yeah.
her time, but she appreciated,
Right.
and wanted as much of their time that they
Time.
could give her
Right.
while she began her transition.
Kitchen. Yes. Yeah. Now, along those lines, you also give pet loss bereavement
Right.
sessions. You know, so once a pet does cross, um, do you connect with the pet, or how does that work?
I do connect. I can communicate if that's something with them, that their spirit, if that's something that someone is really open to.
Mhm.
In addition, people are so raw and
Yeah,
emotional,
they are.
especially following the loss of a pet that they almost don't know where to turn. So usually the first step, the first phase is giving them emotional support,
Sure.
just as a human being. Because even if
Yeah.
we believe our pets continue on in
Mhm.
and after life, which they do, and we meet them again and we're reunited, that doesn't take away, knowing that doesn't take away the pain. So
Right.
pet loss is heartbreaking and leaves us really racked with
Mhm.
sadness and despair. And
Sure.
pet loss is largely disenfranchised in our society. It's not really considered like a big deal or a legitimate loss, and
Mhm.
by some people
Right.
overall, and they'll compare it to the loss of a human, which is of course difficult. And but it's apples and oranges to say one is more difficult than the other.
Right.
So I am trained as a pet loss specialist to give the unique type of support
Sure. Yes.
that is, and I've also am a pet parent, so I recognize and have
Yeah, so
gone
you
through
know.
that, so I
Yeah.
can give them resources and listen and be there and guide and advise them in such a way that they feel validated
Yeah.
in their grief and
Sure.
can begin to heal
Mhm.
in their own pace, which is
Yeah.
important.
That's an excellent service. I don't think many people at all do that. So that's a
Not
wonderful.
many people offer it. People do
Yeah.
offer it, but
Yeah, not many.
people don't really even think that that's something that's available. So I'm really
Right.
trying to educate the public that it is available, and I'm here and happy to help with that. And I get
Right.
clients who come for that.
So, what would be the best way for someone to contact you, um, for your services?
Thank you for asking that. The best way is to go to my website,
Mhm.
michellegranberg.com. It's my
Yeah.
name.com. All of my services are listed there with descriptions and of the way to contact me through
Mhm.
my website and my emails also. And I do both remote sessions, so I can work with someone like this
Yes.
remotely anywhere in the world,
Mhm.
as well as in person. My office is in Central Jersey.
Yeah. And don't you think they're both just as effective?
They are both
Yeah.
just as effective.
Right. They
You
are.
know, I mean, nothing replaces in person, but
Right.
it's not an issue working with someone virtually in terms of it being less effective or
Right.
anything. We still get the work done. We
Yes.
still get that healing and that transformative work done,
Right. I
even though
agree.
we're speaking like this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I want people to know that because some people don't feel that that's possible, but it is. It is.
Try it. Yeah, we want them to try it. Be open to trying it and see it
Open.
for
Yeah.
yourself. But you're right. Some people,
Yeah.
whatever reason, they have some hesitation.
Right. Now, you also host a weekly half-hour TV talk show, Positive Energy.
Yeah.
So please tell us, what that's about. When can people tune in, and where do they tune into? Yeah.
Yeah. So my show, Positive Energy, has been airing for about 6 years.
Great.
So I have recorded um, well over 100 shows, 120 shows or so. And it airs on Princeton Community Television. But 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 the easiest way to see it is to sort of either go to my website where it's archived, or it's archived on YouTube,
Oh, okay. What
is
are your
archived on Vimeo, but it's actually airing and streaming live through
Hmm,
princetontv.org.
okay.
And the you know lots of great topics
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, so what's the premise of your show? And can you share some interesting stories, from your guests?
Oh my gosh, it's been just such a wonderful journey that the show has just given me such rare opportunities to talk to people, and it's wonderful. I mean, generally, the theme of it is positive energy, positive thinking,
Right.
positive solutions. It's about holistic healing and alternative health and wellness, and those types of things. But it's also around psychic abilities and intuition we talk about on the show. And it's also about animals in general, just sort of the wonderful nature of animals. And then I also talk about veganism,
Oh,
which I'm a vegan. So I talk about, living kindly by being a vegan, not eating animals or wearing them or buying products that were tested on or have animal byproducts in them. And so I have guests talking about that, as well as animal rights and animal liberation. So I have
Oh,
guests
okay.
that come on and talk about that as well. So I'm just basically trying to spread a message of
Yes.
kindness through the platform of my show. Some of the best shows have been the ones where I have music. I have many of my shows where my guests are musical. So they
Oh,
might chant,
musical.
or they might sing, or they might play an instrument, or they might be a group. So those are the best shows when they come on. And I always pick people whose music I love personally. I can't help it. It's like, I love what they do. I love their music. So come
Yeah.
on my show. And then I get to hear it and listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's forever, because video is forever. So it's
Sure.
forever
Yeah.
recorded and archived forever. And we can listen to those again and again.
Again, right. And music is just so wonderful. It brings people together. It, takes people to a great, place of being, happiness, joy.
It
Yeah,
raises our vibration.
there we go. It raises our vibration.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. So now, again, you're a woman of many talents. So here's another thing that you do. You like to host events at various venues. And I actually, read at one of your venues, and it was great. We had a great turnout. It was wonderful. You're excellent at, organizing everything and bringing people together and so on. Really, I truly admire your skills with that. So do you have any upcoming events or any events, down the road that you'd like to talk about?
Sure. I've been organizing events for a very long time. I used to have a center, so I really got into the habit of calendaring and having something on the calendar at my center every single day and night, and then marketing and promoting and organizing as a one-woman show,
Right.
all of those events. So I don't have that at the moment, but I still run my own events. Now, right now, during our
during COVID,
pandemic, we're not doing really in-person events. So most of them are online, but I want to let people know that I do have monthly on virtual meditation.
Oh, okay.
And every month or so, a virtual pet loss support.
So, Michele, I ask all of my guests, what advice would you give to someone who wants to explore or expand their intuition?
Yes, please don't doubt yourself. First thing, don't say everybody else has intuition and I don't, because saying that to yourself over and over again will surely cause you to believe that, and then you surely won't allow for, because your intuition is attempting to flow, but we can certainly doubt it, and that kind of closes it down. And then meditation, if you can learn meditation, again, is like it's an exercise in the way that it develops when you use the muscle, you use your meditation muscle and your intuition muscle. But it's often just this strong pull or inclination that drives us.
Guided, yes.
It's always on. It's always on in that way.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Explain that again. Once again, very, very.
Or they can find a teacher like you or me, or a mentor, an intuitive mentor, to work with them like this in groups or just one-to-one. Let's talk about ways to help you develop your intuition further.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to have you tune into your intuition right now. I have two questions. So the first question is from Danielle, and Danielle would like to know, will I move to Costa Rica on a full-time basis?
So my initial sense of that is maybe, but more like a no. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think when one door closes, another one opens. In general, I will say to her, but I do get a strong sense that she's going to visit. My sense is that she has visited, but I get this visiting sort of energy, like a path of going again, and it being a spiritual home for her, like a sacred ground for her. So it's definitely a place to go, to get the contrast of her life not there. Going there is definitely alluring in the sense that it envelops her in a vibration that she feels she's missing where she is now.
Where she is now.
So I'm going to invite her to invoke that energy into her daily life without even needing to necessarily get on a plane and travel.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So we have the second question is from Jim. And Jim would like to know, one of my brother-in-laws is sick right now. How will his health be? Will it improve?
So my sense of that is I get this sort of sense of months.
Months.
And that doesn't mean that some big drastic, doesn't mean he's going to transition within months, but that there's going to be an end of a phase that means there'll be some changes within months. But but what there is to know about that is that his brother-in-law, that this is part of his spiritual journey, that this is part of his life lessons.
Oh, okay.
That this is part of his brother-in-law's way of finding some inner peace. Oh. So if he can kind of move beyond the right or wrong of it, the resistance to what's happening, and try to look at it from that lens. Yes. Even when people are sick, they're still healing. Through sickness, very often sickness is an avenue for healing, the kind of healing that continues into the next life, that doesn't necessarily complete itself in this life. And it's even through going through the door and the transition of death itself that we get a boost in our growth as well.
Thank you for that answer. Well, we are out of time, but it was truly a pleasure, and I just loved how you explained everything so well. You're so born to teach and organize and help people. There's so many aspects to you. It's beautiful, and I have to compliment. I love, and it's a shame that people on podcasts can't see it, but I love your necklace. People on YouTube can see it. It's absolutely beautiful. Really beautiful.
I wear something shiny today.
Yes, nice and shiny, like you. You're nice and shiny.
Thank you.
You shine your light really to so many people. So please say again your website. That's a way to contact you if anyone is interested. You have so many services, and you want to share, shine your light to others too. So please have that again.
And Phyllis, thank you so much for the platform that you're providing for this and for all that you do. My website's michellegranberg.com.
Great. Well, thank you again, Michele. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, listeners. If you would like to send in any questions, please send them to www.readingsbyphyllis.com. Thank you for listening. Take care and God bless.